aiming to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Judith Temera delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. And now to the news. At least 17 people are dead and 9 missing after days of heavy rain triggered floods and landslides on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, authorities said on Sunday. Some 12,000 people have been evacuated while hundreds of buildings, bridges and roads have been damaged by the severe weather, which affected 9 districts or towns across Bengkulu province, the official said. The waters have receded in some places, but officials warned the full extent of the damage was not yet known and some areas were still cut off. The National Disaster Agency spokesman Sutopo Purwo Nugroho said the impact of the disaster may increase and landslides and floods could happen again if rainfall is high. A secondary disaster in the form of skin diseases and acute respiratory infection due to poor hygiene and a lack of clean water was possible, he added. Aerial images showed swollen rivers that had burst their banks and inundated settlements in some parts of the province. Public kitchens and evacuation shelters have been set up to cater to about 13,000 people affected by the flooding, while search and rescue teams try to reach hard-hit areas with rubber boats. The distribution of aid has been hampered because road access has been cut off by the floods and landslides, Nugroho said, adding excavators were being used to clear debris from roads. In the Philippines, the number of families affected by magnitude 6.1 earthquake that rocked Zambales, Pampanga, and other parts of Luzon has now climbed to 3,632 families, which is equivalent to 17,410 persons. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, said in its 6 a.m. update on Monday. The same report, signed and released by NDRRMC Executive Director Ricardo Halad, also disclosed that these families are from 41 barangays in Central Luzon. Of this number, 986 families or 3,771 individuals are being aided inside 6 evacuation centers, while another 951 families, which is equivalent to 4,756 persons, are being helped outside of the temporary shelters. The number of fatalities is placed at 18, with another 243 had been injured, and 3 others went missing in Region 3 and the National Capital Region. Of the injured, 174 were validated, with other casualties still subject to further verification, the NDRRMC added. Damaged structures and buildings in Ilocos Region, Central Luzon, and National Capital Region and Calabarzon were placed at 334. Houses damaged by the earthquake was placed at 1,746, with 238 totally wrecked and 1,508 partially in Bataan, Pampanga, and Zambales. Meanwhile, the water level of Angat Dam has breached the 180-meter required minimum level. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration said. According to Pag-asa, the dam's water level decreased to 179.97 meters as of 6 a.m. Manila Water and Maynilad source their water from Angat Dam. In March, several customers of Manila Water in Metro Manila and nearby provinces experienced a water shortage. Manila Water attributed the problem to the declining water levels at La Mesa Dam, but the palace did not accept the explanation, saying customers of Maynilad, which also sources its water from Angat, did not experience the same water shortage. In other news, a helicopter transfers Malaysian climber Chen Wui Kin to a hospital in Kathmandu. He was stranded in the open for 2 nights on one of the world's most treacherous mountains before being rescued. Climbing experts said it was a miracle that 48-year-old survived the freezing conditions on Mount Annapurna for so long. Watch this.
think it took us only 4 hours to get over there. He was conscious. He was just waving his hand. The only word that he spoke from the point we met until we rescued him this morning was, you know, can I have hot water? And after that, he was completely unconscious.
When we come back, our resident ASEAN resource person, Dr. Carlos Bunda Jr., joins us to interview our guest for today. Stay tuned.
And today I'm here at the Japanese Gardens in Portland, Oregon. If you want to experience greenery and unique landscaping, as well as peace, tranquility, tune in to EBC Digital Nest. I'm Maria Marquio and I'm 1 with 25.
Ang VR-VM po ay isang live fingerprint scanning technology kung saan yung botante lalapit sa BEI at ilalapat niya yung daliri niya doon sa scanner. Yung scanner ngayon, babasahin yung daliri niya at malalaman, ikukumpara siya sa database, malalaman kung siya ba talaga ay registered para doon sa presinto na yon. Yun po yung balak nating ipalit doon sa EDCVL pagdating ng panahon. Sa ngayon, pilot test pa lang ito. So may EDCVL pa rin kayo makikita. Yun yung pinaka-backup natin. But in general, ang verification natin, ang identification natin, gamit yung makina yun. Sa ngayon, dahil meron tayong tinatawag na pilot test pa lamang, meron tayong EDCVL na backup dyan. Kung hindi ka talaga mahanap sa makina, after 3 tries, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, after 3 tries, i-check doon sa EDCVL. Pag na-check sa EDCVL, yun ang magiging huling batayan kung ikaw nga ba ay pwedeng bumoto.
Yan po mga kababayan, ang mga impormasyon na dapat nating malaman ngayong halalan.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Kaloy Bunda from the New Era University ASEAN Studies Center. Late last month, we had a guest here together with another one who's come from Trinidad and Tobago, who invited us to watch for the Climate Smart and Disaster Resilient ASEAN International Conference, which was held a few days ago at Bayleaf Hotel in Intramuros, Manila. And he's with us again to tell us about that. I'm glad to introduce you here, Dr. Glenn Banaguas. How are you, Glenn? Okay. So you had this Climate Smart and Disaster Resilient ASEAN International Conference held at Bayleaf Hotel in Intramuros, Manila. So how was it?
Well, it was perfectly all right. It's a 2-day event, and we invited a lot of fantastic speakers, and they were able to share their expertise in the field of climate smart and disaster resilient ASEAN International Conference. Yes.
So this is ASEAN-wide?
It's ASEAN-wide, and we invited speakers from the academe, from the development partners, from banks, and the academe, of course.
Okay, so you had representatives from the 10 ASEAN member states.
Yes.
And then luckily we have 2 of them with us here now.
Yes,
can you introduce yourselves? Okay. Sure. Sige.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. My name is Dr. Andrew Lim. I'm from Brunei Darussalam.
Andrew Lim, Darussalam. So what's your field? What's your field of best? You're a doctor.
Yeah. I have a doctorate in energy studies. I work with solar energy.
Solar energy, okay. And
Yeah, good afternoon again. My name is Kuk Fidero. I'm from Cambodia.
Kok Fidero from
Yes.
Cambodia. And you are engaged in what field?
My PhD is in environmental engineering. Environmental engineering.
Okay, environmental engineering. Okay, so you're part of the ASEAN Science Diplomats, wherein Dr. Glenn here is the chairperson of the ASEAN Science. Can you tell us about the ASEAN Science Diplomats?
Yeah, the first ASEAN Science Diplomat Assembly was held in 2017
Okay.
as part of our plan of action of activities as a U.S. Fellow for Science and Technology. It was held, the very first one was held in Cebu, Batangas
Okay.
in 2017, and last year we had it in Davao City in Mindanao, and this one we had it here in Manila. In Bayleaf Hotel, Intermuros,
So
Manila.
this was April
25 to 28.
So you were here during the earthquake.
Yes.
So you experienced first-hand earthquake.
Exactly. It's the first time, yes.
Okay, so you are the ASEAN Science Diplomat. So how many of them attended this program?
For this year, 14 were selected.
Out of how many applicants?
Out of 450 applicants
Wow.
all around the world.
Okay, so
yes.
you're the best of the best.
Yes,
Can we
they're
say
the best
that?
of the best. Chosen by outstanding scientists and practitioners in the
Okay.
country in Southeast Asia.
So there are only 14 of you out of the 400. So it must have been a very tiring experience. So what did you do so far? What have you done? Because actually there are two events. The first one is the international conference,
Yes.
which was graced by no less than Ambassador.
The first day, our keynote speaker was the U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Ambassador Sung Kim. And the second one was the Secretary of the Mindanao Development Authority, who is
Okay.
also the signing minister of the BIM Piaga.
Okay, and then the second one is the ASEAN Science Diplomats Assembly. So
Exactly,
what did you do at the Science Diplomats Assembly?
It is a very privilege to be in the ASEAN Science Diplomat Assembly. We interviewed fisher folks, farmers at the Bataan city at that time, and
Balanga City.
Balanga City, yeah. And we interviewed them, and they were very responsive and very positive to the climate change, and they were very also informative, and it's an eye-opener for us scientists actually. Yeah.
So you did a rapid rural appraisal of this two groups actually in Balanga, Bataan. One is a farmers group, and another one is a fishermen's group. So can you say something about what happened during the interview? What
Yes.
were you able to gather
Yes,
from them?
it's such a very good experience for us actually. We meet different group of the people,
Okay.
and we learn a lot from the people at the local communities, how they can survive, how they can cope up with different change of the climate, and how they respond to it from
Okay.
different stakeholders.
Okay, so you asked them about the different effects of climate. What areas? You had several areas where the effects of climate change would be felt. So what are these areas?
In my group, we focus on the food security.
Food security. So in your group,
Yeah, we focus on energy.
energy, and then I think there's another
And
area.
it was water, water
So
security.
food,
yeah.
energy, and water.
water.
So you were able to interview these farmers and fisher folk on what is their experience on the effects of climate change on food, energy, and water. So how was it? For example, in your area, it was energy. So
Yes, it
what
was
did they
energy.
say?
So we trying to relate the water, energy, and food as one interaction, and how the fisher folks and the farmers actually. How the awareness on these interactions affect their livelihood of their everyday life. So it's kind of interesting experience to me because it's my first time participating in the participatory research, and it's a great experience.
And you're in food.
Yes.
So how was it?
Our group, we focus on the food security, and we look
Okay.
at the not just the quantity and the quality of the foods, and we learn from the fishermen, and we know that have been a drastically change on the fishing especially, and they have to find other source of income to support their food security. This is it's also a good experience for us, because as the ASEAN science diplomat, it's not just about the paper writing. It's all about how to understand the community, how to bring science to help the community. This is what we are doing, and this is just the beginning of the journey to be together, to bring all the Asian member states together to see this problem and to take the initiative to make the livelihood better for the community.
So as a whole, according to your interview, these farmers and fisher folk were really affected by the climate change.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so yours is energy. So can you specifically tell our audience specifically what's the effect on the energy of climate change?
Because well, it's not much on the energy side, because the climate change is more on the water and food. But however, energy is part of the important element in the livelihood. So it is interesting to also note that they were given support by the government on the by the what they call by having solar energy, portable solar energy, and I think that is a very a good move, and to support the livelihood of the farmers, and to support the livelihood of the fisher folks.
So they were using solar energy.
Yes,
Okay.
and they experience it. They know what to do with that.
Okay. What about the effect on food again? Food security.
Yes.
These are fisher folk.
Yeah, fisher folk. So because of the climate change, they find it difficult to catch the fish actually.
Okay.
So they rather try to diversify how they can increase their income. So pretty much a big challenging for them, because looking at when they start to live in that community and looking at the education, and this is not very much option for them when they only have the fishing as the major income.
What about the farmers? What did they tell you?
For the farmer, of course, it's become like climate change so much. It's so much drought.
Yes,
they don't have enough the waters for their agricultural activity. So this is still put us a lot of the challenging how we can provide enough food for the people right there.
So it's quite of a challenge. It's a bit of a challenge.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Glenn, can you tell me? So this is your third.
This is the third
your
one, yes.
So can you tell me about this current crop of ASEAN science diplomats you're handling?
For this year, they're all males. Compared in the first one and second one, this is the first time that the ASEAN science diplomats are males for the third batch. And there is another thing is, why is it so unique in this particular third ASEAN Science Diplomats Assembly? This is the first time that we injected the participatory action research. From the previous years, we were only limited to science communication, project development, capacity building. But this time, since that there's really a need, to train and capacitate and really to understand the policies, in the Philippines and in Southeast Asia, it is also our goal to train them on how this particular science and policy will also be understood by the people at the grassroots level, our farmers, fisher folks, and indigenous people.
So overall, how would you describe their involvement in the participatory research in the field?
Well, you are one of the speakers, remember? You're one of the speakers, you're one of the trainers.
Fortunately.
Yes, you were the one who gave them the introduction and the training on how participatory action research will be implemented at grassroots level, and definitely we're very thankful on your expertise. And during the training, I saw how they crafted the questions, how they delivered the questions. It was really fantastic. And the language was not really a barrier, because they were able to communicate with our farmers. He's from Brunei, he's from Cambodia.
But of course you had the translators.
Yes, we do.
Yes, and they were able to communicate and touch the hearts of our farmers and fisher folks in Bataan.
So did you find the experience fulfilling?
Yes, it's a new experience for me personally.
Because you're involved mostly in a laboratory situation.
Yes.
Now they're in the community trying to translate the climate smart and disaster resilience in the community. So was it a fulfilling experience for you?
Yes. Of course, as the when we do our PhD, we just most of the time just spend in the laboratory. But this time we have to go to the field and to see how people respond to the climate change. And along the way, we're really looking at the house, the water source, and how people live. This is a life, because it's not just talking about your experiment, but how you interact with the communities.
You're looking at the relevance of what you're doing in the laboratory, the relevance in actual field condition.
Yes.
How about you, Andere, Dr. Lim?
Yes, to me also it's a very unique experience because I spend most of my time in the lab doing the solar cells and talking to these farmers, fishermen, it just brightens up my day actually to know what's the situation on, and it's a new experience for me.
Okay, so overall you find it very fulfilling. It was a very engaging experience. Okay, can you invite the next batch of possible ASEAN science diplomats for next year?
Yes, definitely. It's very early to invite. Yes, we're going to have the 4th ASEAN Science Diplomat Assembly. It's not going to be held in the Philippines, and we're going to have it in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia next year.
Okay, thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you very much, doctors. Thank you very much for coming here to our studio. Okay, we'll catch the full length of this interview because we have 2 other science diplomats in the weekend edition of ASEAN in Focus. Meanwhile, I'm Kaloy Bunda, and I'm 1 with 25. Back to you, Judith.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kaloy Bunda, for that very special interview. That is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Judith Timera, and I'm 1 with 25.